Hello everyone, it's me again. Today I will recap the movie Ghost Rider 1. Western legend has it that there is a devil named Mephistopheles who specializes in finding and signing contracts with suffering people, turning them into speed demons. Many years ago, when the devil sent speed demon Carter to San Venganza to get the contract containing 1,000 evil souls. But the contract was so powerful, he realized that he could not let it fall into the hands of the devil. And Speed Demon decided to take it to escape from the devil, but that is just a legend. At a small circus in the middle of the American countryside, Johnny Blaze and his father were performing flying motorcycle through a ring of fire. Below the stage, a beautiful girl applauded, causing the son driving the motorcycle to trip over a rock, almost causing an accident. At the end of the performance, the father repeatedly scolded his son to be careful. While they were servicing the motorbike, the boy looked at his father's bicycle and wished he had it. The father said that his son was not yet capable enough to drive it. At this time, the beautiful girl Roxanne came to find Johnny. The father signaled his son to go meet the girl. Johnny immediately led her to a big tree, carved their names on it. Roxanne told him that she was about to move to another place. She said that her father despised him for being poor, and that his fame was only temporary. Johnny did not want to lose his lover, so he decided to take her run away on the motorbike. The two hugged and kissed passionately, and made an appointment to meet tomorrow afternoon. Johnny returned home to see his father already fast asleep. In his hands was a family photo album, and an old newspaper from when he was a child. Suddenly he saw his father's health checkup. It turned out that he had terminal lung cancer. Johnny looked at his father with great heartache. Then he thoughtfully left the room. Outside, thunder and lightning began to rumble. A mysterious old man slowly walked to Johnny and his father's tent. He was the legendary devil Mephistopheles. This man seemed to be a true fortune teller. He told Johnny everything that was worrying him, even promising to cure his father. All Johnny needed was to agree to sell his soul to him. It sounded absurd but very convincing. He gave Johnny a contract. Johnny started to open it, accidentally dropping a drop of his blood on the paper. So the contract was successfully signed. Johnny suddenly woke up, saw his father was well again. The father happily told his son, his illness suddenly completely cured. At this moment, Johnny believed that last night was not a dream. Before starting the performance, Johnny told his father that he would take Roxanne and run away. He asked his son if his son could take care of Roxanne with nothing, not a single penny. But before his son's determination, he finally agreed. Giving Johnny his car was considered giving him a good start. Johnny happily drove away, but the old devil had already harmed Johnny's father. Johnny had just gone a short distance when he heard that his father had an accident. He rushed over, but only had time to look at him one last time. Johnny was extremely miserable and cried. He accidentally saw the old devil's figure. He drove straight to the suburbs. Suddenly the devil appeared in front of the car, causing Johnny to fall flat on his face. The devil said that he only cured Johnny's father's illness, not selling accident insurance. Then the devil gently walked over, placed a curse mark on Johnny's shoulder, put the hellfire into Johnny's body along with a curse that Johnny had to forget family affection, even forget the girl he loved the most, and declared that Johnny was his henchman, then disappeared. Johnny drove to the meeting place. It was already raining heavily. Roxanne had been waiting for a long time. Seeing her boyfriend coming, before she could be happy, Johnny coldly left, leaving the beauty alone in the cold. Many years passed. Johnny was now a famous racer, famous for his recklessness. He took a run and then jumped over countless tractors below. Johnny suddenly remembered his dream of signing a contract to sell his soul to the devil. He finally succeeded in passing the challenge, but the landing made him fall. The car ran over his head, and he slid straight into the fence. It seemed like this guy was dead. But Johnny woke up and asked if the car was scratched. He put on glasses and stood up in the joy of everyone. After work, his teammates opened a small drinking party. At this time, the TV was showing Johnny's performance today. Everyone guessed together how long he could cheat death. The group looked at him and said that if Johnny did not have a guardian angel, he would be dead by now. Outside, the sky suddenly thundered. Then suddenly a rain of fire appeared. From the darkness a strange young man stepped out and shouted loudly. At a nearby bar, the fat man was sipping a beer, when suddenly the beer bottle in his hand froze. The young man who had just appeared was stopped by the fat man. He pointed at the fat man's chest. The fat man's face gradually withered, and he fell to the ground. The waitress was scared and hid behind the table, But suddenly the young man used his hand to grab her neck, sucking all her life force. At this time, 3 demons appeared in the corner of the bar. They came from the earth, water, and wind. The strange young man wanted to cooperate with them to retrieve the contract in San Venganza. He was the Prince of Darkness, Blackheart. Suddenly, there was a call from outside, and he immediately pushed the door open and went out. It turned out that it was his father, Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles came to send his son back to hell, but Blackheart said that his father was out of date and challenged Mephistopheles to bring the speed demon to capture him. He would bury the speed demon's body with the old man. The next day was Johnny's death jump performance. On the way to the stage, reporters who wanted to interview Johnny were all rejected. Until Roxanne stepped forward. Now she was a famous reporter. Johnny was very moved when he met his ex. He accepted the interview. During the interview, Johnny could not hide his feelings for Roxanne. He asked her if she was doing well. He thought she was married. Roxanne said she didn't have a boyfriend yet. Roxanne invited her to stay and watch her perform, but the beauty refused and left. Johnny stepped onto the stage. He had promised Mac that this time he would not jump over burning cars, but only over 6 flying helicopters. This was also what his father had dreamed of achieving before. Mac instructed him on how to run to get over it. Johnny rides his motorbike up. Below are helicopters ready to cut him to pieces. Johnny recalled Roxanne's image, thanks to which he easily established a new record. He gave a helmet to a crazy fanboy, then sped away. Roxanne was annoyed, because her subordinates kept mentioning Johnny, when suddenly he appeared behind her. Johnny wanted to talk to her, but Roxanne did not agree. He sat in the front of the car and ran to meet the driver. At that moment, a truck came. Roxanne screamed in fear. Johnny gently dodged the truck, then sped up to block her car. The beauty was shocked by Johnny. Johnny said he really wanted to talk to her because they had not seen each other for so long. But she said she was very busy and did not want to talk to him. Johnny knew very well that Roxanne still had feelings for him. She was still angry with Johnny for leaving her alone in the past. While talking, Johnny suddenly gave her a passionate kiss, making the cow next to her jealous. Roxanne gave him a chance to have dinner together the next day. She also told him not to be late. When the day came, Roxanne wore a very sexy dress and waited for him. Johnny was looking in the mirror to see if he was handsome enough. Suddenly his hand was so hot that it started to smoke. At this moment, his car suddenly started. The devil Mephistopheles came out of the dark alley. He said that he was always by Johnny's side. All the accidents he avoided were thanks to him. Now it was time for Johnny to repay him. He revealed his devil face, ordered Johnny to find and destroy Blackheart. When he was done, he would return his soul to him. He swung his wand at the ground. Johnny's car started to shake violently, then rushed straight onto the street at super speed. Everywhere he ran, hellfire burned everywhere. The traffic police officer had just stuck his head out to measure the speed, when he was hit by a flash of light and fell down. At this time, at a train station, Blackheart and his men asked a fat guy where the cemetery in this area had gone. The fat guy said he didn't know, so he had fat guy's soul sucked down. Johnny's body became hotter and hotter. His whole body was smoking, and every step he took was on fire. The fire inside tore his flesh and skin apart. Johnny was in so much pain that he felt like he was dying. A moment later, all that was left of his body was a fiery skull. Blackheart appeared to greet. Johnny has now officially transformed into a Ghost Rider. Blackheart let the wind god hit Ghost Riders hard, making the Ghost Rider hang on the chain. But immediately the fire flared up fiercely. Johnny reached out to remove the chain, but unexpectedly stepped on a puddle of water. The water demon inside held his leg. A huge truck crashed straight into the Ghost Rider. They thought that this way the Ghost Rider would definitely die. After taking a few steps, a hand grabbed him from behind his shoulder. Johnny punched him, causing him to fall to the ground. He was scared and begged for mercy, but the Ghost Rider swung the fire chain and wrapped around his body. The hellish fire quickly burned him to the ground, and he finally melted into pieces. Johnny whistled, and immediately a car drove over from afar. Rudy put his hand on the car, and in no time, the car also caught fire. At the restaurant, Roxanne is once again broken-hearted by her lover and is left disappointed. Ghost Rider was walking for some fresh air when he accidentally saw a robber assaulting a girl. He ran to save the girl. Johnny grabbed the robber's neck and lifted him up. The robber pulled out a knife and stabbed Johnny, but the knife quickly melted. Ghost Rider told the robber to look into his eyes. In them, the robber saw all the sins he had committed. The hellfire began to burn his soul, the robber's eyes turned to ashes, and he fell down. Johnny drove to the outskirts. The sun gradually rose. He painfully returned to human form. Johnny tried to crawl on the ground and fainted in front of his father's grave. After waking up, he felt hot and uncomfortable. He drank several glasses of water. As soon as he stepped outside, he met his savior, an old man who seemed to understand everything to him. He offered to help Johnny, but Johnny was afraid of being tricked again. Until the old man talked about the contract, Johnny finally chose to stay. The old man helped Johnny stitch up his wound. The old man said that Ghost Rider is the devil's henchman, helping him capture those who escaped from hell. During the day, he will be a normal person. At night, when he smells evil, Ghost Rider will appear. The way he burned the soul of the robber last night is the look of confession, Ghost Rider's strongest move. The old man said, 150 years ago, in the village of San Venganza, the devil brought the contract to become a speed ghost. People massacred each other to get the power of the contract. In the end, everyone was sealed in the contract. When he heard that Johnny's current mission was to capture Blackheart, the old man advised Johnny to stay, because evil cannot invade the Holy Land. But Johnny was impatient to go see Roxanne. Johnny went to the place where she was doing the report, which was also the scene of the crime he caused. Roxanne was interviewing the victim who was rescued last night. She described Ghost Rider's strange appearance. But everyone thought the girl was not sober. As soon as she saw Johnny, Roxanne was angry and did not want to see him. She said he was just a bad player, and he was only famous for a short time. Johnny accepted and watched her walk away. At the same time, the police discovered his license plate on the rubble. Johnny went home and continued to look in the mirror, imagining that he had a flaming skull, then scared himself to see if he was scared. He opened a book on magic to see how to control the hellfire. He followed the book. Unexpectedly, his hand really emitted heat and burned. He threw the fire at the wall and burned 3 candles. Suddenly, Roxanne came to find him. She sincerely apologized for the words that hurt him. She also saw the souvenir photo of the two of them that Johnny still kept carefully. The two kissed passionately. She wanted to give her body to him, but Johnny refused, making Roxanne really confused. It was clear that he still loved her, but he acted very strangely. Roxanne wanted a clear explanation. In the end, he had to tell her the truth, that he was working for the devil. Every night when he smelled bad guys, he would turn into a speed demon. But she didn't seem to believe it. She thought this was just an excuse for him to reject her. Roxanne drove away disappointedly. Johnny looked at her helplessly. Suddenly, the police and militia arrived, inviting him in to work. They found Johnny's license plate at the scene. They thought he was a cold-blooded murderer. Johnny insisted that he didn't kill anyone. The police had to put him in temporary detention. They were only criminals who murdered and robbed. Johnny was scared and kept asking to go outside, because he was afraid that Ghost Rider would be awakened. The gangsters came down to beat Johnny again. A boy stepped forward to stop him, but was also beaten. At the dangerous moment, a fire suddenly broke out. Johnny had turned into a speed ghost. He grabbed the leader's neck and lifted him up. Then he borrowed his jacket to use temporarily. Speed Ghost pointed at the boy and said that the boy was innocent. After saying that, he reached out to melt the iron and walked out. In the prison, a flaming motorcycle came running according to its owner's words. A policeman hit Ghost Rider in the face. Ghost Rider adjusted his crooked jaw and signaled the policeman not to do that. Then he wrapped a chain around himself and got on the motorbike and sped away. At the same time, at a holy temple, Blackheart asked the priest about the village of San Venganza. Seeing that the priest was stubborn and did not speak, he killed the priest. The police mobilized to attack. Several helicopters surrounded Ghost Rider. He stood on the bridge, looked around, then turned the car and slid down the river. The hellfire helped him float to the surface. The police chief was extremely terrified as he watched him escape. The speed demon ran into an alley. The wind demon suddenly rushed forward, pushed him onto the hood of the car and flew away. A young policeman followed Johnny to a dead end, thinking he would catch the culprit. Unexpectedly, Johnny drove up a tall building. An uncle was cleaning the windows, just a little careless. When he turned back, there was no more glass to clean. Roxanne lived in the building next door, looked over and saw the speed demon. She was also stuttering in horror. Johnny drove to the rooftop and saw a police helicopter. The speed demon threw a chain and wrapped it around the helicopter to pull it down. Before the pilot could recover, the whole plane was thrown far away. Below the building, the police had surrounded the place. The police chief also saw Roxanne's presence. The wind demon appeared, advising Johnny to join their team. The Ghost Rider grabbed the wind demon, but he turned into a wind and escaped. He even mocked him that fire cannot catch wind. The Ghost Rider quickly swung the fire chain to create a tornado that sucked the wind demon in, then used hellfire to burn him to ashes. Johnny rode his bike straight out, swung the iron chain into the wall, and one person and one motorbike crashed straight to the ground. Immediately, the Ghost Rider was standing in front of the police and the beauty. The police all pointed their guns at Johnny. Roxanne recognized the person he loved. Johnny immediately spread his arms and walked towards her. The captain saw the danger and ordered to shoot. The rain of bullets went through him. But the Ghost Rider was unaffected. The blue flame on his head burned red. He jumped up to create a wall of fire, then arrogantly rode his motorbike, split the police car in half, and left. Above, Blackheart witnessed the whole thing. Johnny ran to the cemetery to find his benefactor from the day before, wanting to find a way to end this matter. The old benefactor told about the contract and the 1,000 souls buried. He warned Johnny that Blackheart would capture his relatives to threaten him. Johnny immediately thought of Roxanne and ran back to find her. Roxanne worriedly went to Johnny's house. She did not see her lover, but fortunately Mac was at home to receive guests. That night, the old man at the Holy Land felt a very heavy smell of death. He had just stepped out when he saw a few guests. The old man swung his shovel to hit Blackheart, but was knocked down by him. Blackheart said he wanted to create a hell on earth and needed the contract that old man was holding. Then he continuously kicked the old man. The old man signaled for old man to come closer so he could talk. The old man said that he will fail like his father. Blackheart was extremely angry, stomped hard on the old man's head. He picked up a handful of dirt to smell and discovered that it was the smell of Ghost Rider, so he went to find Johnny's girlfriend. Johnny ran home and saw Roxanne lying on the floor, gasping for breath. Blackheart suddenly attacked Johnny. He immediately transformed into a Ghost Rider and grabbed the demon. Johnny wanted to use his remorseful gaze to burn the demon to death, but it didn't work, because demons don't have souls. Blackheart sarcastically and choked Johnny. The red fire gradually turned black. He knocked Johnny to the ground and turned Johnny back into a normal person. Blackheart told Johnny to bring him the contract. He would spare his girlfriend's life. Johnny drove to find the old man, wanting to use a shovel to dig up Carter's grave to get the contract. The old man stopped him and broke the shovel. Inside the shovel was the contract of power. The old man was also the speed demon Carter from the past. The old man believed in Johnny's love and will, then gave him the contract. Carter took out a horse and transformed into a speed demon. He only had one last transformation left and wanted to use it to send Johnny off. The two quickly ran towards San Venganza. One was a legendary speed demon, and the other was someone who had never feared death, side by side. A sleeping salamander was burned to a skeleton. Carter gave Johnny a gun and told him to stay in the shade. He said that he only brought him here. The rest was up to Johnny's mission. Then he turned around and went back. Blackheart ordered someone to intercept Johnny. Johnny gently rode his motorbike into a swamp, surrounded by fog. Suddenly, the water demon dragged him down. He strangled Johnny, wanting to drown him. Johnny immediately transformed into a speed demon, used confessional eyes to burn the water demon. The water demon immediately turned into foam. Johnny climbed ashore. The car was waiting. He drove into town. Blackheart was already waiting. He threatened that if he transformed, he would kill Roxanne. Johnny held the contract in his hand and told the demon to release Roxanne first. The demon pushed Roxanne into the wall and passed out. Johnny approached and gave the contract to the demon, but did not let go. Instead transformed into a speed demon, punched the demon. The demon pushed him away. The demon walked over and took the contract. Johnny sat up, took the hellfire and threw it at Blackheart's back, then threw fire at Blackheart's head. But at this time, the sun had risen, reducing the power of the Ghost Rider. He threw the chain towards Blackheart. Blackheart grabbed the chain and threw it back towards the light. The speed demon returned to human form. He tried to crawl to pick up the gun. Blackheart needed the contract to summon the souls to enter him. Countless ghosts in San Venganza simultaneously escaped from the seal. They flew everywhere, then entered Blackheart's body, carrying countless resentment and death energy, forming a super strong blood demon. Roxanne woke up. She was extremely scared and ran to Johnny's side. Johnny hugged her in his arms. He took out his gun and shot the blood demon. Johnny continuously shot at the blood demon. Unexpectedly, he was sent flying into the darkness by the blood demon. But he was very strong. Blackheart came and grabbed Johnny's neck and lifted him up. At this time, Roxanne came from outside. She used her gun to blow the evil demon's head to pieces. Suddenly the gun ran out of bullets. His head immediately reappeared. Johnny told Roxanne to throw him the gun. Johnny put the gun into the hellfire. The fire engulfed the gun. Johnny immediately fired a gun, dispersing all the souls in Blackheart's body. However, the souls from the darkness quickly crawled back. The dense death energy gathered and recreated another body. At that time, the devil thought he was immortal, indestructible. Johnny had grasped the devil's weakness. He transformed into a speed demon, using his eyes of confession to burn thousands of souls inside the devil. Soon, Blackheart was left with only an empty body. The flame on the Ghost Rider's head gradually weakened. Roxanne approached him. But Johnny thought he was a monster. Roxanne was not afraid and touched his face. After that, she gave him a passionate kiss. Roxanne took Johnny away from this place. The Devil King Mephistopheles appeared. He wanted to take back the hellfire and return a peaceful life to Johnny. Johnny looked at Roxanne, but he said he would keep the curse and would use this power to fight against Mephistopheles. The Demon King was angry and stomped his staff on the ground. He and his son both disappeared into thin air. Johnny hugged Roxanne, and the two walked together in a field full of flowers. He apologized for going too far. Roxanne said that was who he really was. The two kissed under the old tree. The movie ended here. Instead of living in fear, we should stand up and fight against them. Johnny began a new journey against evil. That's the journey of a hero. Having to walk alone, the people you love may think wrongly of him. The road ahead is still difficult, but you still have to keep going. Thank you very much for your support so that the channel can develop to what it is today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a comment about your feelings about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my latest movie summaries. See you again, dear friends.